What's the single most important thing you can do to care for your skin?
Well, I think the most important thing that you ever can do for your skin is to feed it vitamin A.
Okay, that answers my question, because I remember meeting you nearly 20 years ago. You were without a doubt the first person ever to speak to me about vitamin A, the importance of retinoids, that entire group. You were so ahead of the game. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm sure you're going to say this, what's the single most, if you could choose one active ingredient to put on your skin, it would be?
Vitamin A.
A particular form of vitamin A, or do you not mind?
Well, it's something that you find is not irritating. So generally, we're talking about the sort of fatty forms of vitamin A, like retinol palmitate.
Yes.
And
the idea is you use them morning and night.
That's right.
So you build up your levels slowly. However, I found out the other day you do have some retinols.
Oh yes. I believe in using as many different types of vitamin A as you can, because they all have slightly different metabolisms. And what I'm trying to encourage is that we should develop different forms of retinoic acid. Because most people think, oh well, it's just retinoic acid. But it's not just simple retinoic acid. There's cis, there's trans, etc. And so by offering the skin different forms of vitamin A, I hope that one persuades the skin to form all these different forms of vitamin A, because they stimulate different receptors.
And the idea behind it is, if you could just give me a single line to explain what vitamin A does for the skin, what does it do?
Well, it totally governs the skin. It's an unusual situation where access into the cell is governed by vitamin A, and if you can't get in, you can't get the effects. And that's the problem, that once you destroy the access molecules, the receptors, which you do very easily by being out in the sun, then the vitamin A can't get into the cell easily, and so we need to persuade the cell to take in more and build up the receptors back to the concentration of receptors that we had when we were young.
SPFs, for or against, pros and cons. And you're from South Africa, so you have much stronger sun than we do.
That's right. And I worry about the appropriate use of SPF, because even in Cape Town, for example, a beautiful sunny day today in Cape Town, you don't need any SPF at all. You just need a UVA blocker.
Okay.
Because in Cape Town, there is no UVB, and SPFs relate to UVB. So this is where I think we've got a great deal of confusion going on. You need sun protection. So with UVA, well, we've got moderately successful blockers, but I look at it this way: we can use them, but we don't entirely deal with the real problem, which is the production of free radicals. Mm-hmm. So that's why the antioxidant component of a sunscreen becomes so important, because it will deal with those free radicals.
And the inflammatory markers.
And not only that, but you see, I look at it this way, that sunlight isn't just ultraviolet light, it's also blue light. Mm-hmm. Now blue light, of course, is very good for people with spots. It's not good for people with pigmentation. And then we've got infrared light, and that is damaging our skin quite deeply.
For me, you've always been a little bit sort of 15 years ahead of everybody else when it comes to SPF, and I think it's partly because of where you're based, because you're exposed to much more sunlight than we are in the UK. So what's your rule? Do you wear a daily SPF? How do you protect your skin every day?
If I'm going out into the sun, I will.
Okay.
What I do...
And do you prefer mineral or physical or chemical sunscreens?
I quite like the mineral sunscreens.
I'm a mineral fan as well. Yes. So you're zinc and titanium dioxide.
Zinc and titanium are much safer.
Okay, all right.
And,
but I presume you wouldn't put on a pair of Speedos and lie in the sun for hours on end anyway.
I'll never do that.
No, which I wouldn't do as well. So we're talking about more of the day-to-day obsession with wearing chemical SPFs that you're not a fan of.
Yeah, I worry about that, because if you do it day after day, and say, for example, you're in Britain and you're wearing a sunscreen today, well, you got no SPF. The problem.
Yes.
You know, the SPF is not protecting you from anything.
Yes.
But of course, what's interesting is that many of the molecules that protect you from UVB will also protect you from UVA.
Yes.
So
for you, it's more about broad spectrum antioxidants
Yeah.
to protect your skin, and some sort of low level mineral sunscreen.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
hoping you're saying yes, because I've been doing that for the last 15 years on your advice, so I'm hoping I'm
Well,
doing the right thing.
Yes, and then I've got one added thing. Of course, I'm using high doses of vitamin A,
Yes.
which are being stored as retinol palmitate in the skin cells. That is a sunscreen.
Yes.
And
You like oral vitamin A as well, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, I know. I remember you telling me the most brilliant piece of advice. If we've gone off script now, we've gone rogue. If ever you get caught out in the sun and you get sunburn, you take how much vitamin A? Not that you ever get
50,000.
sunburn. 50,000 IUs of vitamin A.
Yes.
Now, I found out yesterday you just launched a new spot fighting treatment
Yes.
product. How do you tackle spots?
well,
Not you personally.
Yeah,
I mean
yes.
the environment.
environment. Well, my concept is this, that it must be the same as a general dealing with an enemy.
Yes.
You want to attack from as many sides as you can, so that you can penetrate into the problem and deal with it. So when we look at spots, we've got to realize that there is a way that it occurs, and we must follow that in order to understand how to treat. So first of all, the skin surface is rough, and there's tendency to have flaky skin that then mixes with the sebum, obstructs the sebaceous gland, and then the sebaceous gland swells up and then starts leaking out. We get infection and the classic pimple.
So what active ingredients, 2 or 3 active ingredients, are key for you?
So I think that vitamin A is number one, because it controls how much sebum you make. The second thing, it also smoothens out the surface of the skin. Another thing that we notice when you use vitamin A for a protracted period of time, you get less obstruction. The pores become smaller, then blackheads disappear. And then the other thing is that we must control the infection. Now, of course, vitamin A improves your immune system so that you naturally fight the infection. But of course, with something like this, you need to do something more. And so we concentrate on cleaning the skin very well without stripping the oils. We want to control how the sebum develops, and then we want to counter the infection that ensues.
Because one of the reasons I asked you that was because traditionally as a brand, Environ has been anti-acids, hasn't it? So the salicylic, glycolic acids, traditional ways that acne fighting brands work, benzoyl peroxide,
Yes.
isn't the way that you would go.
The benzoyl peroxide is not what we would do, but we've used salicylic acid for a very long time.
Okay.
Look, you're always going to need vitamin A. So if you're going to change your skincare every 18 months, change it to another skincare with the same strength of vitamin A that you're on.
Or slightly more.
Yes, and
Because that's the stepped approach with Environ, isn't it? You work your way up to avoid irritation.
yes, but in my case, like, I have been on vitamin A in the form that we make it in cosmetic creams for 31 years. I've never changed. I've always adding more vitamin A, And I always think, well, if it's a problem, why didn't I get it?
Yes.
Because I'm at the forefront, if you understand. I'm at the...
You're your own guinea pig, aren't
Yes.
you? Yeah. Also, your skin has not changed in 20 years.
I think it's got better, actually.
Do you?
Yeah, because I've been needling, and I've done more than 80 needlings. And
Do you know what? Your before and afters for microneedling are mind-blowingly impressive. You got me into microneedling, right? That was the biggest skincare myth. 2 other skincare myths.
people look at ingredients and then they get persuaded by Dr. Google that they're going to be poisoned by the chemicals that have been put into the creams. They fail to remember that the person making the formulation almost certainly has a family, almost certainly uses creams themselves, and they're not going to put themselves and their children at risk by putting in something that's going to destroy
the world
cells
or
and
us.
so on.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because I somehow think that there's a level of people who think that a cosmetic skin formulating chemist is like some Batman villain. They're
Yes.
really not.
Yes.
They're just like you and I, and they want the best for everybody, and they
Yes.
want to formulate the best product.
Well, as I say to people, I make our product for me.
Yes.
I share it with them,
Yes.
but I use it, and if it's dangerous for me, I'm an adventurous thinker, but I think when it comes to health, I only want to do the best.
Yes.
I don't want to take risks. And
Third skincare myth.
that you should believe in the latest, trendiest molecule that is supposed to do everything, because
That is always trademarked, have you noticed?
yes. And
My laugh one in my beauty industry days, it was always the one that was picked at dawn as the sun was coming up, when the dew was freshly on the leaf at the top of a mountain.
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
That miracle ingredient.
yes, and so what we have to realize is that we actually need cocktails of ingredients. If somebody said to me, well, okay, I'll only give you a vitamin A cream for the rest of your life, I'd feel sad, because I want vitamin A and antioxidants. And
Yes.
this is where the choice comes in. You can either use the natural ones that are in the skin, vitamin C, vitamin E, carotenoids, or you could add some new antioxidant that we've discovered, which is not commonly found in the skin, but may make a difference. I'm never quite sure about that, but so that's why I lean very heavily on the other antioxidants. So for me, there is no one magic bullet.
Okay.